Hey everyone, Gill Gross here, post-match. Alexander Zverev versus Grigor Dimitrov, Miami Open 2024 semifinal. If you're not here for spoilers, click off the video. Dimitrov wins it in three, his first win over Zverev since 2014. Snaps a 7-match losing streak against him, and in doing so, will re-enter the top 10 next week for the first time in several years. Amazing accomplishment. Big congratulations to Dimitrov. I'm very happy for him. He's not really known for his belief, but I feel like it took belief for Dimitrov, north of 30 years old, to think that, oh, my best tennis might actually be ahead of me. And he goes on this impeccable run that I don't think anybody saw coming in the last 8 to 11 months. Kind of poetic that it came against Zverev as well, because a lot of people have observed, I believe correctly, that had Dimitrov not repeatedly drawn a blatantly underseeded Zverev last year, coming back from the injury, had Dimitrov not continuously had to face Zverev pretty early in big events, and he kept losing, maybe this top 10 moment would have happened quite a bit earlier. Probably would have. But the moment he gets the eventual win over Zverev, again, I think quite poetically, is the moment where he breaks into the top 10. This was a tight, serve-dominated match dictated by some key moments. Small margins. So I want to go through the key moments before I zoom out and talk about the big picture performances. Some people might get bothered by some sort of perceived negativity in how I will describe these big moments, but hey, is what it is. Tennis, game of mistakes. There are a lot of tight spots here where mistakes were made. So let me pick things up. 4-5 first set. Zverev went up 30-love in this game. Dimitrov made a terrific backhand stab volley to get to 30-15. From there, Zverev was very bad. He missed 3 out of his next 4 first serves and made 3 totally inexcusable unforced errors, 2 of which were two-handers off of Dimitrov's backhand slice. But the slices were not particularly spectacular. The first one landed in tweenerville. When you hit a slice, you either want it to land uncomfortably short or uncomfortably deep. This landed kind of right in the meat of the court. Not a great slice. Zverev just didn't get his feet in the right position and pulled the backhand wide. The next one was actually a chip return, and the ball didn't stay low whatsoever. Zverev still missed the +1 backhand. And then on the break point, Zverev missed a forehand on a ball that came in with absolutely nothing on it, and Sasha didn't manage to hit a single string on a forehand that looked extremely tight. So that's how the first set ended. Again, serve dominated, good quality by both, and then just at the very end, a somewhat of an implosion by Zverev. Second set. First of all, at 4-5 in the second, Dimitrov had a great chance to get to match point. The score was 30-all. Zverev was pulled out wide on his forehand and ended up kind of just looping a ball down the line, again, out of position. So when you go down the line, you don't have as much time to recover to the middle of the court, which is why it's usually a better idea to go cross court to buy yourself some extra time to get back in a position. Zverev not wanting to go cross court because going cross court means contending with Dimitrov's forehand. So instead, he kind of, again, just softly loops a ball to Dimitrov's backhand, and Zverev really can't recover. He doesn't have time. Grigor gets to step into a drive backhand with the cross-court wide open, and he just can't knock it down. He buries it into the net. So this was a big chance for Grigor to get to match point. He doesn't. Zverev holds. Second set goes to a tiebreak. The second set tiebreak was really the only part of the match that went how I thought this match would go. I thought that they would get into more longer rallies, that in those longer rallies, Zverev would be very diligent about making Dimitrov beat him with his backhand, potentially physically wear him down, and get the better of play. That is what happened in this second set tiebreak. I'll talk about why that didn't happen more often throughout the match later on. But, you know, Zverev got a lot of pleasure out of just forcing Dimitrov to beat him with the backhand. They went backhand to backhand on the opening point, and Zverev came up with a great backhand down the line winner, with Grigor just kind of grooving the ball right into Zverev's strike zone. There was another lengthy exchange on serve, 2-1, where, again, it's kind of the same play. Zverev just guides the ball softly, forehand down the line, really setting up Dimitrov to attack with his backhand. And Grigor steps inside the court, hits a backhand cross-court approach, but it's just not big enough, and Zverev passes Dimitrov with a backhand cross-court. Again, just an interesting play, almost daring Dimitrov to attack on his backhand. At 2-5, Zverev hits a backhand cross-court trade into a Dimitrov backhand slice, unforced error in the net. So there was a purchase that Zverev got from just playing Dimitrov's backhand. Also, Grigor's return wasn't all that great in this second set tiebreak. Zverev was able to really step into 2 +1 backhands, and he also got a service winner off of what was, by his standards, a poor first serve, where Dimitrov just missed a forehand return that he should have made. So Zverev takes the second set tiebreak. Going to the third set, at 1-2, Dimitrov serving, Zverev has a massive chance to take the lead here. Dimitrov made 3 unforced errors, the last of which at 30-all was on a mid-court forehand that Dimitrov had been nailing all match long with ruthless consistency. And I think he just got a little tight in this spot and netted it. On the breakpoint 30-40, second serve look, Dimitrov was smart here on the ad side to hit the second serve to Zverev's forehand, and Zverev responded with a return that could not have been more passive. He looped it right into the middle of the court, begging Grigor to miss another easy forehand. Dimitrov did not oblige. He hit a very venomous forehand inside out that forced an error. It was as bad a second serve return as you can hit without simply missing. So, Dimitrov holds there. A couple of big first serves on the next 2 points. Break for Dimitrov came at 3-all in the third set. There were a couple factors here, but it mainly came down to Grigor using his forehand advantage in a multitude of ways. Now, of course, with the way the match was going, you always felt that in order for either man to break, it was going to take missed first serves, and that was the case on this service game for Zverev. He was either 2 of 5 or 1 of 5 on first serves. I may have just lost concentration on one of these points, and I didn't quite catch if he made his first serve or not. But Grigor, either way, had a chance to get into points. The first point that Dimitrov won came off of a sliced backhand cross court by Grigor, and Zverev ran around to hit a forehand inside in and didn't get enough rotation on the ball to bring the ball down from a low contact point. The forehand went long. It was the second miss that looked identical to that in the last like 2 minutes. You know, he had literally missed the same forehand off the same shot in the same spot only a few points ago. Now, Zverev on the next point, love 15, had Dimitrov like slipping and stumbling. Zverev had an easy forehand approach shot that he absolutely massaged down the line, giving Grigor a backhand passing shot in which Dimitrov barely needed to move and could have had a cup of coffee before hitting it. The next 2 points for Dimitrov were one on the direct forehand-to-forehand exchange, where Zverev just wasn't putting enough on the ball looking timid and tame on that forehand side. And Dimitrov, to his credit, incredibly proactive with his feet to move on the diagonal, take a lot of time away, cut off the cross-court angle, and just punish forehands down the line off of Zverev's weaker forehands cross-court. He did this twice in a row. On the break point, Zverev's desperate backhand pass hit the net tape and actually became pretty dangerous. It was a terrific reaction and an adjustment to the ball by Dimitrov to still put away the volley. As far as I'm concerned, Zverev's forehand lost him this game. You could poke holes in the way Zverev hit his forehand on all 4 points in which he lost. But again, Dimitrov was ruthless really from here on out in pushing Zverev back, getting the ball to his forehand, and then just punishing the passivity off of that wing. Dimitrov was really good from here on out in his next 2 service games, closing it out, which was great to see. You know, it was certainly, he talked about how nervous he got against Medvedev at Indian Wells, just kind of thinking about that top 10 spot being on the line. And he was really disappointed with his performance there. There were a few nervous moments in this match. You think about that backhand at 30-all in the second set. But Grigor certainly was cool, calm, composed, and executed in his next 2 service games. And from here, I can kind of talk about the bigger picture and talk a lot more positively about Dimitrov and his performance. It really starts with discussing Grigor's serve, because it's mightily impressive that he can go toe-to-toe with Zverev in a serving duel, which this match was. Aces were 18-14 Dimitrov. First serve win percentage, 78% on both sides. If you look at Dimitrov's previous 7 matches against Zverev, again, all losses, he had never been over 7.2% in ace rate. In this match, he was at 18.8%. He was more than twice as likely to hit an ace in this match against Zverev than any of his previous 7 meetings. And by the way, if you look at what he's done this year as a whole, he is on pace for a career high in ace rate. He is in double digits for the first time since 2017 in ace rate. And by the way, he's well into the double digits. He's got room to spare. He's at 12% on the season. That was coming into this match, so it'll go up a bit, maybe 12.1, 12.2% after this. Zverev rarely had the answer for the wide serve on the deuce, followed by the forehand into the open court. Dimitrov's forehand was sensational. It's become such a clear-headed weapon for Grigor, and he is so good at recognizing short balls. I don't recall him being this good at or this ruthless when he had balls to attack on his forehand throughout his career. I was worried about the physicality in this match. I thought that Zverev might be able to just get into a lot of lengthy neutral baseline rallies, make Grigor hit a lot of backhands, get to Dimitrov's legs. The reason why the only time this really happened was in the second set tiebreak. The reason why this didn't happen was because Dimitrov's serve and his forehand were too darn good to let that happen. He was winning too many quick points because the potency on the serve forehand was so spectacular. Zverev also had a terrible time trying to read Dimitrov's mid-court forehands. Felt like he was leaning the wrong direction all the time. And Grigor's forehand inside in was a big moneymaker in this match. It's smart for Dimitrov to go that way. You don't want to pound the ball at Zverev's backhand, because you just know that if you don't hit the ball perfectly, Zverev's going to turn the point around, either redirect down the line and make you run, or hit such a good cross court that suddenly you're hitting a backhand now, which you don't want if you're Grigor. So Dimitrov did a good job proactively hitting the forehand inside in as soon as possible. I felt that Dimitrov's backhand slice did work for him in this match. He didn't quite go with the U.S. Open strategy. At the U.S. Open, he was like, I'm not hitting topspin. Like, I'm just not. That was really his approach in New York. And I felt it kind of worked until he got injured in that match. Third set, fourth set, he couldn't really move. And he balanced it out a little bit more, but he was still majority slice in this match, which is the right thing for Grigor to do. And first of all, when Dimitrov had maybe an easier ball to slice, more time, shorter incoming ball, slower incoming ball, I loved the backhand slice down the line as an aggressive play because he was usually getting an attackable forehand on the next ball. But even when he was, and that's difficult to do, but even when he was trading the backhand slice cross court, Zverev's footwork got lazy several times here. And I still feel that the backhand is just not the same shot when it's below the level of his hip. The one surface that Zverev really hasn't had a lot of success on is grass. He's made some Hala finals, but he has not done well at Wimbledon. And I have always contended that the simple reason is that the ball just bounces too darn low. And it takes away a lot of what Zverev likes to do, particularly with the two-hander, where when he has to hit up on the ball, it's just not the same shot. And he doesn't re-slice very well. He does not slice off the slice very well. So, I thought the backhand slice really did the job for Dimitrov and mitigated the backhand weakness to the best of his ability. It was not for Dimitrov a performance like he had against Alcaraz, where, he was ripping backhands with great success and brutal consistency. It wasn't that. And with that said, Zverev's first serve was effective against Dimitrov's return. Sasha's serve is in a different league compared to Alcaraz, but it was not a repeat performance of Dimitrov being dominant on the return. It just wasn't. And that includes the second serve return, which Dimitrov started the match, slicing and blocking pretty passively, which is a sharp contrast to what he did against Alcaraz, really just hammering backhand returns over and over again. So Zverev's first serve was effective. His second serve was somewhat effective. And he did break down Dimitrov's backhand successfully in the lengthier rallies. If Zverev's forehand held up in the third set, or if Zverev did a better job of returning second serves on his end, he had a really good chance of winning this match. He missed way too many second returns. And when he wasn't missing, he was giving Grigor forehands. Second serve return performance by Zverev, for some reason, was just really, really poor. And it's not normally a weakness of Zverev's game, I don't think. Usually it's at least average. But in this match, I have to say it was below average. Meanwhile, Dimitrov, serve +1 excellence, and his backhand was far less of a weakness than Zverev's forehand when it counted. Down the stretch in the third set, it wasn't even close. That made a world of difference. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.